What is going on? I'm getting a late start today. Sun's going down. But I want to get some more work done on the 240. Got the manifold just sitting on the studs here, and I want to figure out where I need to drill my hole for my drain pan and weld on this dash 10 bung. Weld the hole. Drill and weld the bung on the oil pan, drain pan, whatever. I don't know how to talk. So I want to put my turbo together. It's all taken apart to be cleaned and have the seals replaced and everything, but I've got it all ready to go back together now. So I'm going to put it together. That's pretty simple. And then I'm going to mock it up on the manifold, and then I can figure out exactly where I need to put that. Tomorrow, all my fittings, I don't have any dash 10 fittings. I've got a whole box full of dash 8 and then one dash 6, and of course I need dash 4 and dash 8 for my oil feed and drain. But no big deal, I can estimate where it needs to be on the oil pan just with the turbo on the manifold and get that thing clocked correctly and just ready to go. I'm at the point where I've got like so many things on my list I need to get done. I just need to start knocking them off one by one. So, I made a mistake. Yeah, I might have dropped it and broke it off, and then these were like freaking all chipped up, like hanging off, so I just knocked them off as well. Well, that's a bummer. Luckily, this turbo is pretty much free, and I just checked on Facebook Marketplace. There's a guy local who's giving away a blown one of these turbos, so I'll be able to just grab that off of him and build this turbo the rest of the way. Just have to replace that one piece, which sucks, but that's part of working on cars, I guess, is breaking shit and then redoing it. I could still use this for mock-up purposes and figuring out where I need to put the drain bung, so I'm just going to continue working on it. Alright, today is tomorrow. All is good in the world, even though I broke my turbo yesterday. I have a new one lined up already, so that's pretty cool. I've got the housing back here clocked correctly for the engine, so I've got the feed nice and vertical as well as the dump. So I'm going to continue putting this guy together and then bolt it up to the engine, tighten up the manifold, bolt that up just real quick, loosely, and we can figure out where we need to put the oil drain. So I've got this all mocked up, turbos on there, turbo drain adapters on there, and then this, I'm using push lock fittings. This is the wrong size hose, so it's just loose in there. This is just for mock-up. But with a 45, obviously the hose is sitting wrong, but I only have two hands, and if I bend it with my hands properly, then it gives it a nice bend like this, and then just out just a little bit so it's nice and clear from the manifold, and then back in onto this other AN fitting that's going to be a straight. Right now it's not straight on the flange there, and it should just clear my wastegate flange there. I'm not running an external wastegate. I'm just going to run the normal internal wastegate that comes with the turbo for now. Eventually I can go to an external wastegate, but I need to build a block off plate for this and do that. Sort of keeping it tight budget right now and a little bit more simple, so that's my reasoning behind it. I can now just drop the pan on here and mark on the pan where I want to put the drain bung. Okay, I lied. I'm going to put it right here. The hose does no kinking. It's still a nice straight shot, fairly straight shot right here. This is pretty much as far back as I can go. Back here there's not enough room for my weld-on bung. Right there, there is. My reason for moving back is the AC compressor sits right here. I'm keeping AC in the car, and it just gives me a little bit more room to work with everything. So I'm going right here. crank pulley's on. Here's a trick. If you ever need to come back and torque something later, put some tape on it, because if you forget, you screw yourself. And the oil filter housing as well as the sandwich plate is installed. I have the adapters for the Dash 4AN line coming in tomorrow, and I'm going to go pick up the plugs. Since they're just NPT, I can just go get them at the hardware store. That's nice and tight though. This is nice and sealed up. So there she goes, coming along. I think I want to start mounting some AC brackets and engine mount brackets, that sort of thing. Right here you can see I have some poly. That's a trans bracket, engine mount, another engine mount here. Some miscellaneous AN hose stuff. But I want to just start getting everything mounted up because we're getting pretty close. And once I have this thing ready, and once I have this engine bay finished, cleaned up, which I'm not too far away, I'm same place I am before, but pretty much just the subframe there, I can drop this engine in and start hooking everything up. So it's another day. I've been working on the intake manifold for the KA24 pretty much all morning and yesterday afternoon, and I think I've got it all finished up and ready to go on, so I just wanted to go over with you guys. So obviously it's all cleaned up. Some original stuff on there still. Some dirty stuff I just need to go through and clean up, but it has had a lot of components deleted off of it. If you guys are familiar with these things, usually on the inside, in between the upper and lower, it is just like a mess of hoses and everything. Obviously it's not like it's super clean right now, but I can actually like see through it and everything, which is kind of cool. So we deleted all the emission stuff, EGR, excuse my haunted door, all the emission stuff, EGR, the fuel tank vent solenoid, or yeah, fuel tank vent, I guess. This right here is just, these are just like connectors for, this is an S14 manifold, so these won't be used, and they don't go to anything, just FYI. Still have the coolant lines and everything routed to the throttle body. I'm keeping those since it is a Colorado car. It does get cold here. For cold starts, that's kind of important, so I'm maintaining that. Heater hoses are staying as well, so those are all in there. None of the crappy vacuum lines. If you're wondering what this one loose connector for, it's for the fuel tank solenoid there, fuel tank vent solenoid. Besides that, you know, I'm running stock fuel rail, 550cc injectors, side feed injectors, and keeping the stock fuel pressure regulator because I'm not going for big power right now. This is vacuum line for the brake booster. We've got heater hose hookup here. Got another heater hose hookup here. This is another coolant hose hookup here. And then another, I believe some sort of vacuum line here for the IACV that needs to be hooked up. But let's get this thing dropped on. I've got the engine laying on its side here, ready to take the manifold, so I have to hook up those couple of hoses. They make these, I think these manifolds are a horrible design in my opinion, but you have to hook up the hoses, which you can't really do with the manifold on, so you have to like lean it weird and then hook them up, tighten the clamps, and then bolt the manifold on, so let's get to it. Intake manifold is completely bolted on, torqued down, everything's hooked up. I even have the starter mocked up down there to make sure everything fits. Check the engine mounts, they're all on there, they're all good. I did torque the crank pulley there. This is one of the last things I need to time, the distributor. It's just sitting loose in there, so I'm going to do that real quick. But this thing's ready to pull off the stand and throw the flywheel and clutch assembly on there. Before I do that, I also got the rest of the engine bay pretty much cleaned up to the level I'm going to take it to. The transmission, I need to address. I have a new polyurethane mat for that as well, because that's the original factory mount. You know, the shifter used to move around a lot, and this is clearly why. But I'm gonna degrease this thing and clean it up because it's a little bit dirty. So I'm gonna get that done, and then I can start bolting stuff together. Got the engine completely buttoned up now. I forgot a couple of things. Forgot the knock sensor, so that's on there. There's the connector for it. And then I got the distributor timed, and that's in there as well. So we're on TDC for cylinder 1, I believe. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so, oh, and yeah, everything's torqued up. So next step now is to get this thing off the engine stand and mated with the transmission. I didn't go super crazy on the transmission, just sort of got like the greasiness off of it. There's still some hardened spots, but before it was one of those things where your hands look like this after touching it, or worse. And now you can touch it, obviously. My hands are already dirty, but now I'm not going to get filthy working on it. I wasn't too worried about it because this is just an old used trans. There was nothing special about it. And I sort of just want it, you don't see it, so I just want it to where it's not going to get me all greasy every time I work on it. The mount, sitting right here, it's ready to go. I'm going to leave it off until I get it in the car. It's a little bit easier maneuvering that into the tunnel without the mount on there. So that's where I'm going to leave off for tonight. Next video, these things are going together with the clutch, and it's going in the car. I am excited, so excited. I've been working so hard trying to get this thing ready. Once we get it in the car, we need to fit all the intercooler and the intercooler piping and everything. I think it should be fairly close from what I can tell, but obviously it's, you know, nothing's ever a complete bolt-in affair. I need to pull the exhaust apart. The front section of the exhaust is still a stock section, and that's the cat right there. And obviously I'm not going to be running any cats. The rest of the exhaust is aftermarket, and I have a downpipe for a turbo that's mounted on this manifold, so I can just mock it up once I get the engine in the car, but just have to pull that to get it out of the way. So yeah, oh man, I'm worn out, but I am so freaking excited to be driving this car again. This has been a long time coming, like a really long time coming. So yeah, that'll be it. I'll see you next time.